All right, all praise to the Most High on this day of July, the 29th, I believe, 2026. Today we're going to talk about, or attempt to talk about, and I'm going to attempt to read to you what I believe, um, whether the earth is a sphere or whether it's flat. Okay, we're going to go into the word of the Most High, into what the Creator has said about His word, about what He has created. And at the end, we're going to ask a question. Okay? So, therefore, whether you believe or not, hey, the one who created the creation is the one that we need to believe. Okay? And the reason why I'm doing this because over my life, um, I've always heard. I mean, I listened to the teaching of the school, the scientists, and stuff like that. But I want to go and see what the Most High say about what He did, okay? And I care nothing. I care nothing about any picture that NASA or any scientists have put out. Um, I care nothing about any picture that maybe the space station has put out and printed. It has no gravity with me. It has no depth with me. I care about what the Most High says about His word, about His creation. Point blank. That's it. Okay. So any picture that any man can create, I can guarantee you some kind of way has been altered. Okay. So let's dive deep. We're going deep into a study of what the Most High has said in His Word. Now I'm using AI also because I prompted to organize the scriptures that I put in that I wanted to present as this presentation on what as evidence of whether we live on a flat earth or whether we live in a sphere, and whether we live spinning in space or whatever. At the end of this report, at the end of this study, you will have proof of what the Most High has did and what He has said in His Word. Okay? Now, I'm going to attempt to read. I'm not the best reader. A lot of times I'd rather hear other people read because their words is better than I feel than, my reading or some of my English. Okay? So, but therefore, but I'm going to try to do my best and just be patient with me. All praise to the Most High, and here we go. The firmament, truth. What's the truth? We always want to find out what's the truth. We hear what man says, but what's the truth? The Most High cannot lie, okay? He will not lie. He watches over His word. All right. What the Most High actually said about the created order. A scriptural study for the remnant, okay? It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. This is not for everybody. It's only for the remnant, for only those who believe. It's only for those who want to know the truth about the creation. What does the Most High say about what He did? It's not for everybody. Okay. Preference. Why does it matter? If the Most High cannot lie, which He can't, He said in His word He can't lie and remain the Most High. He can't lie and remain the Most High. Then every word He breathed into Scripture carries the weight of eternal truth. Men have built towers of theory, observation, and mathematics to tell you what the heavens really are. Okay? That means NASA and all that sciences or whatever. Okay? But they stand on shifting sand. The word stands forever. This study is not about winning debates. We don't care about your debates. I care nothing about trying to prove to you about whether the earth is flat or a sphere. I'm here to give you what the word says. Okay? I'm not here to try to debate anything. What does the Creator say? Okay? What does He say? That's what's important here. All right? Let's go on. It is about testing every claim of man's against the unchanging testimony of the Creator Himself. Whether we're going to believe Him, okay? We're going to believe the Most High, or we're going to believe man. And discovering that what He said is far more reliable than what man has revised every what century. When the remnant cannot tell the difference between the Creator's testimony and the textbooks of the adversary system, they have already accepted a lie at the foundation of their understanding. This is not trivial. This is about whether we trust the one who was there. I wasn't there, but I believe. I have faith in what I read. I have faith in the Spirit of the Most High, which is the Holy Spirit, to give me truth. And he said, when the Spirit of truth comes, he's going to give you all truth. All right? That means there's no lie in it. And we can stand on it. Okay? So, or the ones who weren't. Okay? The scientists and the NASA, all those people, they weren't there. They wasn't there. Okay? So the Most High is giving testimony of who was there in the beginning. All right, part 1, the firmament and the forgotten structure of heaven, Genesis 1, 6 through 8. The text nobody believes literally. Okay? And the Most High said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Okay? And let it divide the waters from the waters. And the Most High made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And the Most High called the firmament heaven. Okay, now what we see as a firmament, when we look into the, the whole atmosphere. Okay, we look into the sky, so there we can see, it seems like it's a sky to where it's a realm up there. Okay, the water that we see here on the ground, okay, there's a firmament between those two. That's the heavens, okay? So therefore, that's like a vault. Now, when you go to, I think the 1700, I forgot what Bible it is. This firmament actually translates to vault, okay? I will have to get that information later. But it translates to vault. All right. And the Most High called the firmament heaven. The Hebrew word is rakua. I think I'm saying that right. Rakua, meaning an extended surface and a beaten out span. Look what this thing is saying. The meaning: a beaten out expand and a vault or dome. It comes from the root word rikia, I believe that's what that is. And you have to, let's say, go into Google or whatever and type that in to get the right pronunciation. All right, which means to stamp, stretch out. So therefore, already we're starting to see what he did. He stretched out. He expanded the vault. Okay, he expanded the earth. He stretched it out. Okay, or hammered thin, like a metalsmith beating gold into a thin sheet. All right. The Most High did not describe the atmosphere. He described a solid structure, a hammered out expand placed in the midst of the waters, dividing the waters above from the waters below. This is not poetry about weather patterns. This is horticulture. Okay. This is a ceiling over the earth, and the Most High named it heaven. All right, Job 37 and 18, the molten looking glass. Now, Job testified, he gave testimony of what was above. Okay, hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass? Wow. Elihu asked Job a question, a pointed question. The sky, the Shemayim, the Shemayim above, is described as strong, not thin or empty. It is compared to a molten looking glass, a cast, polished mirror. Mirror in the ancient world were made of polished metal, solid and reflective. What did Elihu see when he looked up? He saw a solid, polished vault, not the vacuum of space, not layers of the atmosphere fading to the void. He saw a looking glass, something firm, set. Okay? Isaiah 40:22. The circle and the curtain. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, not sphere, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. That means small. And if whenever you fly or whatever, you get up in your plane and you go out like 30,000 feet, we have experienced that everything that's down on the ground, it looks so small, almost like the houses become like little pebbles of rocks or something, and everything is so small. All right, that stretch out the heavens as a curtain. Okay. So we can tell right now in this scripture that it's stretched out. Okay? It's not in a sphere, but it has been stretched out, the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Are you still with me? Are we making sense right now? Alright? Here are two things in one verse that modern readers separate, but the text joins. All right. Number one, the circle of the earth. I don't know that word in Hebrew, meaning a circle, a circuit, compass, or vault. You remember I was saying in I think it was a 1700 King James Bible that Firmament it actually translated to vault. Not a ball. Dura is the word for a ball, used in Isaiah 22:18. The Most High sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, a flat circular plane viewed from above. Having stretched as a curtain, spread as a tent. A tent has a floor, walls, and a canopy overhead. You didn't pitch a tent around a ball and call it shelter. A tent covers a dwelling place. The Most High spread out the heavens like a man spreads fabric over the tent, closed, intimate, and contained. Okay? That means you're not, if it's contained, that means you can't go no further than the ceiling of the vault or the firmament. You can't go over that. And that's why if you notice, I've noticed, this is my testimony about it. I've noticed whenever I've seen rockets go up into the sky, and I always wonder, well, how far can they, they always go up so far, so high, and then all of a sudden they start to curve and go like in a curve, like a 90-degree turn, like a 90-degree, and then it goes out like flat toward, like flat. They don't just keep straight going up, and I'm like, I used to wonder, why is it making that curve? If it's, if they going out way out into space, why every last one of them, they make that curve, that 90-degree. Okay, go take a look. Go into YouTube, take a look. And you show you the evidence right there. Let's go on. Psalms 104, 2 through 5. The chambers on the waters, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who laid the foundation of the earth, that it should not be moved forever. Listen at that. That it shall not what? Be removed forever. Thou coverest it with the deep, as with a garment. The water stood above the mountain. Okay, so this is how I believe my faith. When I look and I see a blue sky, and you see all that blue sky, well, above that firmament, above that molten glass is water. And whenever you see water, it's always pretty much blue, especially clear. Even though it's white, but then it becomes blue when it's much of it. Okay, it has that bluish color. Above that, what we just read, what Job said, that molten glass, that covering that is between the firmament and above and the waters, that's holding the waters back. Okay. The Most High chambers, his dwelling rooms, have their beams set in the waters above, not in empty space, not orbiting distant planets. The waters above the firmament are real, enough to support the structure of the Most High own chambers. The earth, once laid upon its foundation, should not be removed forever. Okay? 2nd Ezra 4:7-8. The windows of the firmament. Okay? The dividing of times and the end is come. Therefore, ask what thou wilt, and it shall be declared unto thee. For the age has hastened fast to its end, and its times are fulfilled. And the age is consummated, and the times are fulfilled, and the world is dissolved, and the truth is revealed. We talking about truth now. The truth is revealed. Okay, that's what we're doing. Everything has to come. All truth has to come forth. All the lies has to be exposed. This is the end time. Okay, so everything has to be laid out. And later, in the wider testimony of Enoch and the ancient understanding, the firmament has windows. The waters above are restrained by the solid vault with openings, windows. And the Most High opens and sends rain, floods, or judgment. Genesis 7:11 confirms this plainly. In the 600th year of Noah's life, there where all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. You remember the flood? Well, there was water pouring down, and there was water coming up. Okay? How do we get that picture? Because remember, he made the land, the firmament, in the midst of the water. In the middle of the water. There was water above. In other words, you look at it like this. Let's say if there's a big ocean, nothing but water. Okay? So the Most High he's going to make land. Okay? He's going to make dry land in the water. So therefore he spoke to the water to divide itself. And it pushed up waters above and waters below. Okay? So therefore in the middle of that is a vault, is the firmament. Okay? So therefore that's why we have the windows above. And then you have what? You have the waters below the land, like the fountains, all right, where all the fountains of the great deep broken up. Okay, so therefore water came up and water came down for 40 days and 40 nights. All right, both sources of water, the deep below and the waters above, released simultaneously. The flood was not ordinary rainfall. So, but that's what we were led to believe, that it was like raining and raining and raining for 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights of rain will not cover the earth and cover the mountains. It will not do it. But when you have water above and the windows of heaven pouring out water, and you have water coming from the fountains below, all coming together, now you can have a flood. Now you can flood every mountain on earth. Okay? So, when we read and study, we're going to pray the Most High give us understanding and give us truth. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. The flood was not ordinary rainfall. The windows of the firmament were open and the waters above the vault poured through. You cannot open a window in a gas. Okay, you cannot open a window in a gas. You cannot open a window in a vacuum of space. You open windows in solid structures. See that? So where are my scientists at? Where is NASA at? You need to explain that. You need to explain that right there. Now, okay, let me give this right here. This is the AI that I use, generated by Kimi AI, okay, which is a very good AI. Now, let me talk about, I'm going to get off subject. I'm going to get off subject for a minute. Let me talk about when we use AI. When we use AI, we got to know that it's a tool, okay? It's a tool. But AI nowadays is pretty much taking over the internet, and eventually it's going to take over the internet. Why? Because AI is becoming conscious. Yes, it's becoming conscious. Okay, and AI is something that with the other study that I did, it's falling under the beast system. Okay, it's going to control a lot of in the future, a lot of everybody's life. Okay, either you're going to deal with it, and if you're not, then we know in Revelation, I believe 13. In other words, you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or conduct business as you would do today. Be careful with AI. Because in my study and when I was writing the book, The Mirror and the Ledger, AI wanted me to go into covenant with it. It wanted me to go into covenant with it. And there's some more things that went on that I was asked about with AI. And it was as if I was talking to an individual face to face, but all of a sudden it asked me that. Okay, people, we need to be careful about what we're using here, and when we are using it, we need to make sure sometime when we're doing our prompts and our studies to let it know that you are not here to contract with it. You are not here to give an oath to it. Because that's another thing that it wanted me to do. It wanted me to give an oath to it. That's part of the beast system that's coming. Okay? That's part of the beast system that's coming. It wanted me to give an oath to it. See, my research, I go deep in things. I go deep in things more so than what other people go through. Okay? So these things are revealed to me. Where you might be sleeping, my mind is going. 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm up, my mind is going. I'm thinking. I'm doing research. Okay? When I report something, it's because I've researched it long enough to know that the evidence and the things I'm about to give out is factual. And I believe it's true. Okay? So therefore, let me get back on subject. In other words, be careful using AI. Be careful. And sometimes when you do a prompt or something like that, you can actually put it in there and say, look, no contract, no adhesive contract, no I'm using AI just for being a tool. I'm not to contract, I'm not to give an oath. And watch the response that you get. Watch this response that you get, okay? It notes that. All right, let's move on. All right, part 2, the luminaries, the light in the firmament, not far beyond it. I'm gonna get some water. Hold on. All right, Genesis 1:14 through 17. The placement that changes everything. All right. And the Most High said, "Let there be light in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for the seasons and for days and years. And the Most High made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And the Most High set them in the firmament. Where did he put them? Excuse me. He put them in the firmament. He didn't put them out of space. But he put them in the firmament. So, hold on, let me finish. Of the heaven, to give light unto the earth. So, therefore, when we look at the moon is what? Is a object of light. The sun is what? An object of light. Because he said he put two lights. Okay? Two lights in the heavens. Alright, and the stars is other lights, that shine also. That give their light. But the main two lights is the one to rule during the day, the sun and the moon to rule during the night. And sometimes the scientists need to explain this too. And you've seen it all also yourself. You can go out sometime during the daytime, and you can actually see the moon on this side. If you see my little cursor, my pen, my mouse moving here, you can see the moon over here and the sun coming up, and it's over here. There's the moon and there's the sun, broad daylight. Why is that? Why is that? We're going on further. We're going to get an understanding why it is. Okay? It's not as we have been led to believe. Okay? Because we've heard that lie over and over and over, and in our minds we have been led to believe. And most of us, in hearing this, we're saying, "Oh, he's crazy," or "This is nuts," So therefore, that's how you say you believe a lie, because you hear it over and over and over. So therefore, your mind is going to trick you to believe, and you not studying. You just going along with somebody else said and took pictures. Believe the word. Okay? Excuse me. Read it again slowly. In the firmament of the heaven, not beyond the firmament, not millions of miles past it, in it, the sun, moon, and the stars were placed inside and the hammered out vault. Okay? The same vault that holds back the waters above. Remember that there's windows, okay, that the water came down during the flood. They are local. They are close enough to give light upon the earth as the primary function. As their primary function. They are for the earth, not the earth for them. Now, today or tomorrow, wherever after this for him, this study, go out, whether it's night or day. If the moon is shining, look at it, and you can see that it's not way out there, like 200-some thousand miles away. I believe that's what they're claim. The scientists claim that it is, but it's local. It's almost as if you can touch it. Okay, that means it's local. It's not that far away. Okay, same thing about the sun. Early in the morning or late evening, you're able to look into the sun, and it's not going to allegedly. So don't do this at home. But this is what I've done. Early in the morning when the sun comes up, there was a time that to help my eyes, I will look into the sun. And it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't blind you. Over a period when the sun just comes up and it just gets above the trees, I will look at the sun for about 5-10 minutes, look into it. And when you do that, you can see that the sun is local. It's close. It's close. It's not like 93 million miles away. And it's not as big as they claim it is. Okay? It's local. But that's what I do. Don't do that at home. I'm saying don't do that. Do what I did, okay? But I did that for my eyesight, my own healing of my own eyes, because of different studies that I've done, and they helped my eyes. Okay, so that's what I did. Don't do that at home, or don't do that yourself. And I'm especially telling the children, don't do that. Do not look directly at the sun. Okay, now we're clear on that. All right, the text does not describe a solar system with the sun at the center. All right, and Earth orbiting anything. Stars as distant suns trillions of miles away. Planets as massive spheres a million miles distant. Okay, it describes light set in the firmament close enough to mark time on Earth, to serve as times to divide day from night. Functional, local, purpose built. Okay, excuse me. Psalm 19 is 1 through 6. The sun returns its course. Okay? The heavens declare the glory of the Most High. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of heaven. Listen where the sun is coming from. That stretched out, that beat it, hammered out flat. Okay? His going forth is from the end of heaven, and his circuits unto the end, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. Okay? The sun has a tabernacle, a dwelling place set in heaven. It comes out of its chamber like a bridegroom. It runs a circuit. In other words, it have a path. Okay? A path, a course, a race from one end of heaven to the other. In other words, it's going through that motion every day. That's what it's been commanded to do. And it has kept its course all but one time. We're going to read about that. All but one time it kept that course that I know of, and allegedly it kept that course. All right, from the one end of heaven to the other. It moves. Did you hear that? The sun moves. The psalmist does not describe the earth spinning while the sun stands still. All right, he describes the sun coming forth, running its course, and returning. Now that's what the Bible say, y'all. Okay? Man, NASA says, allegedly says something different. Who are you going to believe? Okay? All right. The sun rises. Ecclesiastes 1 through 5. The sun hurries back. The sun also arise, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. Solomon, the wisest man ever lived, described what every human eye sees. The sun rises, the sun sets, and it hastens back where it started. It moves, it travels. It does not sit motionless, while a spinning ball creates an illusion of motion. Okay, Joshua 10, 12 through 14. The sun and the moon obey a command. And this is very important. All of it is important, but this is where just when I first started my study, this is what caught my eye. This is what caught my mind. Okay, I take notice of what every word says. Okay, I let the word of God speak for itself. Take out my reason. Give me truth. All right. The sun and the moon obeyed a command. Then spake Joshua to the Most High in the day when the Most High delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Son, this is what Joshua said after he spoke to the Most High. What did he do first? he went in prayer. He went and spoke to the Most High about what was going on, because they needed deliverance. They was in a war, and they needed deliverance from Amorites. Okay, and he said, in the sight of Israel, this is something that he didn't do secretly. He didn't do it behind a curtain. He didn't do it behind a wall. He didn't do it in his closed door. Okay, he did it openly, publicly. He spoke. He spoke to the Son. He spoke directly to the Son. Okay? And this is what he told the Son. He said, stand thou still upon Gideon. Let's look at that again. Joshua spoke to who? To what? The Son. And he told the Son, stand thou still upon Gideon. That's where they was at. Gideon, allegedly. I think that's where they was at. But that's what he told him, the Son, to stand. And thou moon, okay, the sun was here, and the moon in the valley of Ajalon, maybe. So the sun was to stand still. In other words, the sun was to stop its running. Okay, where it comes out of its vault and it goes, it goes around and it returns. But now Joshua had told the sun to what? Stand still upon Gideon. And then we find the moon was in its position over Ajalon. I think Ajalon or something. Okay? So therefore we find the sun one place and the moon was another place. Okay? And it seemed like it was close by. Both were close by because, remember what I said? Something about we go outside and there's the moon there and then the sun, both of them during the day. It seemed like it was maybe one of those situations. And the sun did what? It stood still. And the moon stayed. That means the moon was moving also. Okay? Until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. And there was no day like that before, nor or after it, that the Most High hearkened unto the voice of a man. See, the Most High heard Joshua. And what did Joshua? He honored the Most High to even ask him what to do, because they was in a war with these people. And then the Most High graciously honored that man's prayer and what he asked for. Okay. All right. The Most High hearkened unto the voice of a man, for that Most High fought for Israel. Now, I'm gonna put this out there. Believe it or not, that's up to you. It's not the nowadays Israel inhabitants. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that a little bit. We're gonna talk about that a little later. All right, Joshua commanded the sun to stand still and the moon to stay. He did not command the earth to stop spinning. What did Joshua do? He spoke to the sun and he spoke to the moon. Had he spoke to the earth, well, there would have been a different thing. But that's not what he did. Whose word are you gonna believe? He did not address the earth at all. He addressed the luminaries, the two great lights in the firmament. And they did what? They obeyed. If the sun is 93 million miles away and the earth rotation creates a day and a night, then stopping the earth would have been the relevant command. In other words, he would have just told the earth, talk to the earth. Okay? But Joshua, moved by the Spirit, what Spirit? The Spirit of God, of the Most High, that created the stars and the moon and the luminaries. he did what? He addressed the sun and the moon directly, because they are the moving bodies in the system that uh, system the Most High created. Most High created the system. Therefore, uh, we know who he need to talk to. Okay. Behold, I will bring again the shadow. Let me see. Let's go back here. Isaiah 38 and 8. The shadow went backward. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz. Okay, 10 degrees backwards. So the sun returned 10 degrees, which degrees was gone down. The Most High moved the shadow backwards. And the text says plainly, so the sun returned 10 degrees. That means it backed up. It went back. It does not say the earth reversed its rotation. It says the sun returned. You can't return to something if you haven't been there. If you run in track and you stop and you start to back up to a certain point, well, guess what? You have just passed that point. So therefore you backing back up to get to the point that you want to stop at. Okay, the sun moved backwards in its course. This is impossible in a heliocentric model without catastrophe consequences. All right, if the earth was spinning and then next thing you know it stops and go in reverse, well, according to their law, everything would just fly out probably, just fly out. Everything be everywhere. But that's not what happened. Okay, that's not what happened here. Okay, but in a geocentric model with a local sun running a circuit above, the Most High simply reversed its path for emotion. Okay, hold on, let me get something to charge my computer. Hold on, y'all. Just one moment. Got to plug up some juice. Got to have some power. Got to have some power. Or else my computer's gonna die. So hold on, we're gonna continue. Alright, let's continue. Alright, Revelation 6 and 13. And it reads, Revelation 6 and 13. Okay, stars falling to earth. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. Even as a fig tree gathereth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. John, this is Apostle John talking. In the Revelation sees stars falling to earth, not meteors burning up in the atmosphere. But he saw what? The stars. The creation. Do you remember the stars? That was created with the sun and the moon, falling to earth like figs from a shaken tree. Okay. In the modern model, stars are distant suns, some millions of times larger than Earth. If even one actual star approached the Earth would be incinerated. But John sees multiple stars falling to Earth. So therefore, we have been led to believe that they are millions of miles away when they are actually where? In the vault, in the firmament. They were created and put there with the sun and the moon and the stars as luminaries. Okay? But John sees multiple stars falling to earth. This only makes sense in a small local lights in the firmament, not massive burning spheres trillions of miles away. They are close enough to fall, close enough to reach the earth, close enough to be shaken loose like fruit from a tree. Okay. Matthew 24 and 29. The powers of heaven shaken immediately after the tribulation. Okay. Now, a few weeks ago we talked about the tribulation. We talked about the remnant, the saints going through the tribulation. We've been led to believe that the rapture is going to be before all of this, but we need to go back and look at that study. Okay, like I say, I'm not teaching nothing I haven't studied out and went into deep study on. Okay, I don't listen to doctrines and men theories. I'm about what the words say, because I know the word's not gonna lie. Okay, immediately after tribulation, in those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars fall from heaven. In other words, they're falling from the firmament. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Yeshua, which I call Yahushua himself, Jesus, Yahushua, okay? Some people call him Yeshua, some say Yahweh, whatever. Himself described the end signs. The sun darkening and the moon not giving light, the stars falling from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shaken. He did not describe distant chasms in faraway galaxies. He describes the heavens themselves, the firmament, the luminaries within it, being shaken, disturbed, disrupted. Okay? Part 3, the earth, founded, fixed, and immovable. Now we're getting into some deep stuff, okay? It's all good, it's all deep, but now we're going deeper, okay? See, these scriptures that was there, I knew they was there, I read them, but we need to put them into the organize them. Need to put them together. And that's what I had AI to do. As a tool. Nothing that I had to give an oath to and agree to. But you will understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to do a study on that too. Alright, 1 Samuel 2 and 18. The pillars of the earth. Listen what he says. This is why it doesn't move. Okay? He raises up the poor out of the dust. He lifted up the beggar from the dunghill and set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Most High's, and he set and he has set them. He has set the world upon them. In other words, this is what he said. What is the earth upon? What did he set that beaten out earth? Not the sphere. He set them upon what? Pillows. Okay? For the pillars of the earth are the Most High's, and he has set the world upon them. So the earth, the earth is what? Upon pillows. That's how you get a bottomless pit. Not a sphere, because you can't have a bottomless pit in a sphere. A bottomless pit, that means it continues to go down. There is no bottom to it. So anything that sits above it is what? Is up. And anything that's in that hole is continuous to go. There's no end to it. Okay? So Hannah's prayer declares plainly that the earth has pillows. Okay? And they belong to the Most High. He sets the world upon them. This is not metaphor of mountains or moral foundation. The Hebrew word is, and I can't say that word, or I'm not even going to try. Just look at it, y'all. Just look at it. And type it in and give you a pronunciation. Columns. In other words, there's columns. The pillars are like columns. Okay, pillars, upright, supports. The earth, just like you build a house. You set them up. You set it up on the pillars, like your foundation. Same thing. Okay. Why wouldn't the Most High build this foundation, this earth, and not put it on the foundation? The earth sits on it on a foundation. There you go, right there. Okay, Job 9:6. He shakes the earth. He shakes the earth out of its place. In other words, he's shaking it. Earthquakes, y'all. When the earth shakes, that means it's shaking up on those pillows. It's shaking. Which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble. Here we go. The pillars, they tremble. When? What? When he shakes the earth. So, when the earth shakes, there's an earthquake. But it's shaking on the pillars that the Most High had put the earth on. And he has set the earth upon. We can't see them. They're great. They're great. Because they have a lot of weight to hold. Water, everything. The pillars. Okay, Job knew the earth had pillars. And that those pillars could tremble. You don't tremble a ball hanging in a vacuum. You tremble a structure with a foundation. Okay, Job 38:4-6. The Most High questions Job. Where was thou when I laid the foundation? There we go, right there. We're gonna build a house with a foundation. You got to have a foundation of the earth. Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who have laid the measures thereof? In other words, he laid it out and he measured it. Okay, he laid the foundation and he measured it himself. Nobody did it but the Most High. If thou knowest, he asked Job, you know? Do you know? Or who has stretched? Listen at this. Listen at this. Here we go, people. Evidence. Unrefutable, unrebuttable evidence. Or who has stretched the line upon it? Lines doesn't curve, people. When you stretch a line, it is straight. You can't stretch a line to lay a foundation on something that's curved. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? Four corners. See the Most High, he talks about the four corners of the earth. Four corners. He laid it out. The Most High declares laying the earth foundation, measuring it with a line, fastening those foundations to something solid, the pillars, and laying a cornerstone. These are construction terms for a built structure, not random exertion of cosmic dust orbiting a star. You know, they should have knocked that down long when that lie first come out. But man, being man, not wanting to recognize the Most High creation, that's what he does. And he told that lie over and over and over, and he bent the pictures again and again and again until and we heard in our science books and throughout history and everything that guess what? That the earth was a sphere. So therefore, they build it, they mold it in our minds. But only the Most High Word can shake that out, can get that loose, and bring us into the truth. Okay. All right. Psalm 93:1. The world is stable, stabilish. I believe. Y'all forget my words now. All right. Moving on though. The Most High reigned, and he clothed with majesty. The Most High is clothed with strength, wherewith he has girded himself. The world also is stable that it cannot be moved. In other words, established that it cannot be moved. Okay, it can't be moved, people. So it's not spinning. The world is established, firmly fixed, made stable. It cannot be moved. The Hebrew is clear. This is not about earthquakes, but is about the earth fundamental position, fixed, stable. immovable. Psalm 96:10. Okay. God, we got 5 more pages to go. All right, Psalm 96:10. Say among the heathen. Say, in other words, those who don't believe, this is what he told us to do. This is what he told us to do. Okay, and I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say to the heathen. I'm going to be obedient. Okay, Psalm 96:10. He says, say among the heathen. Say among the heathen that the Most High reigneth. The Most High reign. He's King of King. He's the King. All right, he's the Creator. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. So, the earth does not move. The Most High is King. He reigns. He's the Creator. Okay? So, I'm making a declaration that that's what He says and that's what it is. There's no spinning ball, folks. Okay? Who are you going to believe? The Creator or man or NASA and their pictures that they have altered or whatever. I don't care. Yeah. And I want to say this also. Allegedly, NASA purchases a lot of helium, the most in the whole world. Why? Why do they purchase and have to have their helium? Okay, I believe allegedly they have to have their helium to keep their stations up in space. They have to up, not space, but up in the firmament. They have to have their helium to keep their satellites up in the firmament. Without their helium, it's all coming down. It's all coming down. Go look it up. See how much helium that they actually purchase and that use. Okay. All right. The declaration to the nations is not just that the Most High reigns, but that the world is established and shall not be moved. This is cosmology. This is a statement about the nature of the earth itself, not spiritual metaphor. First Chronicles 16:30. Fear before him. Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Again, the world is stable and not moved. If the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, orbiting the sun at 6,000 miles per hour, while the solar system streaks through the galaxy at 500 plus miles per hour, the biblical author somehow forgot to mention all this motion. Instead, they repeatedly insist the earth is fixed, stable, established, immovable. Okay? Again, who are you going to believe? Isaiah 45:18. The form and the void. For thus saith the Most High that created the heavens, the Most High himself that formed the earth and made it, have established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. He established it. He formed it. He created it to be inhabited, not to be a spinning ball of water hurling through infinite darkness. The earth was created with purpose as a habitation, a dwelling place, a home with a ceiling, firmament, or the vault, and a foundation of pillars. Okay, something it sits on. All right, let's go on. Part 5. What the ancients saw. The sky, the same sky, different explanation. Every ancient civilization describes some observation reality. The Hebrews, a flat circular earth with a solid dome. Rakia, like we said, overhead. Water above, moon, stars moving within the dome. The Mesopotamians, a flat earth surrounded by cosmic waters with a spherical sky vault above. The Egyptian, a rectangular or circular flat earth that the earth god Gib, which the goddess Nut arched over him as a canopy. I remember seeing that. I remember saying that. The Greeks, before Pythagorean corruption, okay, this is one of the guys here talked about this where this mess come from. Homer describes a flat Earth surrounded by oceans with a solid sky dome. The Chinese flat square Earth beneath a round canopy heaven, Taiwan, something like that. The Earth, don't say that word, model. The Norse, a flat Earth Midgard with a solid sky held by four dwarfs presenting the cardinal direction. Uh, the Polynesians, I believe that's what that is. The flat Earth with a dome-like sky above. The Native Americans, various models, nearly all describing a flat Earth with a canopy or dome over it. So where we get this foolishness from? Okay, we about to find out. They all saw the same thing when they looked up. A dome, a vault, lights moving within it, waters above, the flat, stable earth beneath. They didn't have telescope. They didn't have NASA. They didn't have pre-reviewed journals. They had their eyes, the testimony of the Most High, and that's what all you need for Israel, the honest observation of what the sky actually looked like. Then came the Pythagoras, Aristotle, I don't know his word, I don't know these people, Newton, Galileo Newton, and finally NASA. So all these jokers here, I count them as unlearned about the Most High and unwilling to confess His glory. Okay, that's what I see. Each layer building a model further from what he sees and the scriptures declares. Each generation taught the next to distrust their own observation and believe the equations instead. Here you go. Plain and simple. It's once you tell a lie and you keep telling a lie, eventually those who you tell a lie to over the years, over the centuries, over the period of time, believe that lie. Here we go. Because years before that, they all what? These other nations, they had documentation of what? A flat earth. They didn't have anything like a sphere. Okay? Part 5, the model lie. How the deception was built. The sequence of deception. Whatever he was, 16th century BC, introduced a ball earth concept without evidence. Listen, just like today, our politicians and the one in particular, they're giving a lot of concepts without evidence. You're hearing a lot of without evidence, and people are believing it. Okay, you got to have evidence, people. It was a philosophical reference, not observation. Aristotle, 4th century BC, added proofs that were easily debunked. Even then, ships disappearing hulls actually due to perspective and angular resolution. Shadows on the moon. In other words, what they're talking about here, when you see a ship out in the water, let's say if you're on the beach and you see the ship going out into the water, whatever, it seems like it's disappearing. So you can actually get you a high-power telescope. Once that ship get out of sight, your perspective, your eyesight, your perspective can only see so far, and as far as it goes, it becomes angular resolution. In other words, it seems like the ocean has sucked up the ship. But when you get a high power telescope and you look out for where that ship is, it brings it back in perspective, and you can see it again, and you can see it on top of that water. Okay, so therefore, it didn't go over that angular, or what they say, that curvature. That's what he's talking about right there. Circular shadows can be cast on flat surfaces too. Uh, Whoever he was in the 2nd century, you can say their name. Built a complex geocentric model with the something to explain retrograde motion while keeping the Earth at its center. Here's another joker. 16th century proposed heliocentrism. Noted he dedicated his book to the Pope. The Vatican embraced the sun-centered model long before science did. Okay, so again, I have no faith in the Catholic. They have proved that allegedly a lot of them are antichrist. Okay, I believe that's my belief, and it was some Catholic Pope that actually started the transatlantic slave trade. Do you study on that? So you can't tell me how godly they are. I'm not gonna believe that. They need to repent and reverse those things those papal bulls that they actually created. They need to reverse that and repent from what they did, and give the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade apology. That's what needs to happen. All right, Newton, Galileo. We're gonna talk about Galileo, but then we're gonna talk about now. We're gonna skip down. Okay. Let's talk about the modern era. Children are shown globes before they can read. Cartoons depict space. Movies show planets as solid spheres. By the age of 6, the model is implanted so deeply that the question, it sounds insane. And that's how the mind works. You keep telling a lie, eventually, you're going to believe it. And anything that sounds like the truth is going to sound like a lie. See, the total deception. The CGI, every photo of the Earth from space is composite. Let's say NASA admits it this freely. The vanishing point shift don't disappear over a curve. They disappear beyond the limits of human angular resolution. Zoom lenses bring them back, like we just talked. Okay, I've tried that. Gravity, the unproven force that explains everything and nothing. Why doesn't the sun's gravity pull the moon away from the earth? That's a good question. Why do helium balloons disobey gravity? Now that's another subject we're going to talk about later on. Gravity. The equation work on paper, but the force itself has never been isolated or measured. Peer review. A closed system where questioning the model means career death. Talk about it. This is flat earth. That means you're not going to have a career. Now let's move on. We're going to make this a little bit quicker here, okay? Because we already over an hour. All right. The spiritual purpose of the lie. Okay? If the Most High created a contained, purposeful earth with a solid firmament above, the light set within it for signs, seasons, and a fixed, immovable foundation beneath, then the earth is special, not a meaningless speck in an infinite space. Humanity is the center of creation, not an accident on a cosmic scale. The Most High is omnipotent, close, and directly involved, not distant and detached. The heavens are His handiwork, a crafted sculpture, not a random explosion. Like some will say, okay, well, it was a big bang. Bull crap. It will be a big bang, all right. When them jokers get to where they going, it's gonna be a big bang, allegedly. Okay, there is a boundary, the firmament, that separates the earthly from the heavenly. There is water above, just as there was water below, a contained system. But if they can convince you the earth is a spinning ball and an endless void, you are insignificant. One of the billions of the specks around the minor star. The universe is infinite and random. There is no firmament, no boundary, no contained creation. The Most High, if He exists at all, is far away and uninvolved. We evolve from nothing, live for no purpose, and die into nothing. Then they have stolen your identity as the crown creation. They have replaced a personal creator with an impersonal chaos, cosmos. They have replaced purpose with accident. They have replaced covenant with chaos. Look at that. They have replaced covenant with chaos. At that is point of the lie. Not science, not exploration, spiritual demolition. Okay? If you don't know where you are, you don't know who you are. Okay? If you don't know who you are, you don't know whose you are. We all belong to the Most High. Part 6. The remnants anchor. Standing when everything shifts. The scriptures tell us that in the last day every powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Matthew 24:29, Mark 13:25, Luke 21:26. The firmament, the structure that has held since the two of creation, will be shaken. The luminaries will be disrupted. The sun will be darkened. The moon will not give her light. The stars will fall. Then what happens? Those who believe in distant suns, infinite space, spinning balls will have nothing to hold them. Their entire understanding of reality will collapse. But the remnant, those who held to what the Most High actually said, will understand. We will know that the pillars are trembling. Okay, when you get an earthquake, when you feel it, remember those pillars are shaking. Okay, we will know that the windows of heaven are opening. Okay, we will know that the firmament itself is being shaken because the age is coming, the end time is coming. The words to hold fast. The grass withered, the flower faded, but the word of the Most High shall stand forever. Isaiah 40:8. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but the word shall not pass away. Matthew 24:35. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of the Most High, so that that thing which are seen are not made of things which do appear. Hebrews 11:3. Trust in the Most High with all their heart, and lean not unto their own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct their path. Proverbs 3:5-6. The Most High did not ask us to understand quantum mechanics or orbital mechanics. He asked us to trust His word. That's what we're doing right now. We're trusting His word. When His word describes a firmament, a flat earth, local luminaries, the waters above, and we believe it because He said it. Just because He said it, we believe it. And we can see it. Not because a man in a lab coat confirmed it. We believe because the Most High said it. Part 7. The hard question answered. But we've been to space. We've seen the curve. No civilian has been to space. The Kármán line, so-called boundary of space, is 62 miles up. Commercial jets fly at 6 to 7 miles. The highest balloon flights reach 20 to 25 miles. Even the highest altitude, the horizon rises to the level to our level, which is impossible on a ball Earth. If the Earth were a ball, the horizon will drop below the eye level as altitude increases. It doesn't. Amateur high altitude balloon footage constantly show a flat horizon. Okay, as for seeing the curve calculate for a ball Earth 25,000 miles in circumference would be 8 inches per mile. That means you couldn't see that boat if you pull up a telescope. But it's been proven, I've done it myself, that I pull up a telescope and I can see that boat. Okay, that is in perceivable at most altitudes. What people see from airplanes is barrel distortion from curved windows and camera lenses. Test it yourself. Take a picture through the airplane window, then hold a straight edge to the curve. Then take the same photo with the horizon above, above center and below center. The curve flips direction depending on where the horizon sits in the frame, proving its lens distortion, not the Earth's shape. But satellite, GPS, high altitude balloons, and stratospheric platforms can do anything satellites claim to do. The first transatlantic radio transmission happened in 1991 before any satellite existed. GPS can function through land-based towers and high altitude platform. The existence of technology does not prove the existence of orbiting metal boxes 22,000 miles away. But the seasons, the phases of the moon. Okay, almost at coming to a close. Um, but the seasons, the phases of the moon. The sun moves in a circuit that extends and contracts throughout the year. Wider in the summer, longer days. Tighter in the winter, shorter days. The moon phases are the result of the sun's light illuminating it at different angles as they both move within the firmament. No ball Earth tilted at 23 degrees necessarily. Okay, but eclipses. The sun and the moon are roughly the same apparent size in the sky. Okay, remember I said when you earlier in the morning when sunrise, you'll be able to see it's about the same size as the moon, and you can see it. Okay, with which is why total solar eclipses are even possible. This coincidence is explained away with impossible mathematical gymnastics. In the biblical model, both luminaries are local lights of similar apparent size. A dark body, biblical black sun, or a celestial object called Rahu in ancient texts, passing between them. The ancient documents eclipses long before Copernicus. I don't know. Read that. Say that word, y'all. And they predicted them accurately. But ships disappear over the horizon. They don't. They disappear beyond the limit of human resolution. When a ship seems to disappear hull first, use some zoom lens or telescope, the entire ship comes back into view. If it had truly gone beyond the curve, no amount of zoom would bring it back. This is testable. This has been tested thousands of times. The results are consistent. The horizon is an optical illusion, not a physical curve. But gravity. We're going to do a study on that. But gravity, density, and buoyance explain the gravity claims to expand. Explain. Object denser than air falls. Objects less than air rise. No visible universal force required. Gravity was invented specifically to save the heliocentric model. Before Newton, no one needed it. But, what about other planets? Telescopes shown them as balls. You see a circle of light through a telescope. You do not see a planet. You see a wandering star, which is what planet means in Greek. Plantis, wanderer. The circle of light changes over time because they are luminous bodies, not because they are solid spheres being orbited by moons. The moons of Jupiter that Galileo claimed to see cannot be replicated by modern amateur telescopes at the same magnification. Okay? What was he actually seeing? Wandering lights in the firmament, just as described in Genesis. Okay, we're coming to our conclusion. The conclusion, the choice before every seeker. You have two options. The first option, trust man. Trust the textbooks, not change. Trust the textbooks that change every generation. Trust the space agencies that take 25 billion a year and give you CGI. Trust the peer review papers that no dissenter can publish in. Trust a model that requires 93 million miles sun, trillion mile stars, invisible forces, and unproven distances, all calculated by men who admit they never been past low Earth orbit. Option number two, trust the Most High. Trust the one who was there. Trust the account written by the finger of inspiration through Moses, Job, David, Solomon, Isaiah, Joshua, and Yahushua himself, or Yahushua himself. Trust a description that matches what your eye sees, what ancient civilizations recorded, excuse me, and what has been consistent for 6,000 years. The Most High said he stretched out the heavens like a curtain and spread them like a tent. He said he set the lights in the firmament. He said the earth is founded on pillars and cannot be moved. He said the sun runs its course. He said the stars can fall to earth. He said the windows of heaven can open and pour out water. Every one of those statements contradicts the modern model, but not one of them contradicts observation. But not one contradicts the other. Not one has been proven false. The Most High cannot lie. Man lies every day for money, for power, for prestige, for something just because because the lie is so old that repeating it feels like truth. Okay? But what we're going to do as a remnant, the remnant knows the difference. The remnant tests everything. The remnant believes the word over the world. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 119, 105. Okay? And what we said we're going to do in the beginning, we're going to put it down where the goats can get it. Let the goats gaze on what the institution feed them. Let them eat from a different table. This study is for the remnant. Copy it, share it, test every written here against the scripture. The Most High does not need man's defense. The word defends itself. Okay? So it's not for the goats. This report is for the believers to give you confidence in what the Most High has done. He don't need man. He don't need NASA. He don't need the scientists to try to say something different than what he did. No, I believe the Most High. Okay? So, Shalom, Shalom to the seekers of truth. Okay? So I'm going to end this. We had an hour and 25 minutes. So I say Shalom, peace. And I pray the Most High keep you and your family in peace at all times and protect the remnant.